Welcome back, y'all. So today, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 5 things that I really like about the SVT Lightning. So, number 5. It's just a cool factor thing, honestly. Number 5, they're cool. Anybody who says they aren't, I mean, they're just... we're not going to agree on much at that point. They're just fun trucks. If you like short wheelbase single cabs. Not much to say about that. Number 4. So the interior is antiquated, but when they came with suede interior, which this one doesn't have, the white back face gauges, you know, they had a different steering wheel. Kind of looks like a Mustang steering wheel, but that's not. They just were cool. The interior felt way different when you got in these things when they were new. And it was actually Ford's flagship performance vehicle for a number of years. Wasn't the Cobra. So that's pretty much number 4. Even though it's a regular cab, the interior is actually pretty roomy. It's very cool the way they had it at the time. This one's pretty old, but I just like the way the interior was laid out on these. Number 3 is going to be probably again, the handling. It's another performance aspect, especially at the time. These trucks, they had 4-wheel disc brakes, which was not common in a pickup truck at the time. They were fairly big brakes for the front, but performance out of a truck at the time was kind of, there wasn't one. I mean, you had the Cyclones in the early 90s, the Lightnings in the early 90s. Yeah, at the time, the only truck that really was a performance truck besides the Lightning was the Dodge Dakota Road and Track, and it was pathetic compared to this. But at the time, this, handling wise and braking wise, was like, man, you could handle with some of the cars of the day, and it was a truck. So you could business in the back, party in the front. You had a pickup truck that you could play with. So that's cool. Number 2. Well, 2 and 1, again, they kind of go hand in hand, but the whine, thanks to the supercharger, you really hear it in a Lightning because the supercharger is so close to the dash. It just, the whine, and just plain as day. Any Eaton supercharged vehicle is going to whine somewhat, but these, for some reason, the way the plenum feeds at the top, and because it's so close to the dash, I just love the whine. I loved it. I love it on the Cobras. Any vehicle that has a whine, I like. It's just a cool sound, but it's pretty simple. Which leads into number 1. Again, this is going to be a short video, but number 1, because it was supercharged from the factory, a few simple modifications, and you could really waken these trucks up. An intake, a plenum, throttle body, pulleys. This is a stock upper pulley, but we do have a 6-pound lower pulley on it. Really wake the truck up. They don't make great horsepower from with the factory heads because the exhaust ports are really small, but you can help that along if you get ported heads or aftermarket heads and cams. But they really wake up with torque. The Eaton supercharger, you can really wake this thing up, with pulleys, and it just, while the horsepower may not go up a lot, you get a lot of torque for your money there. This one's ported, so it actually does make a pretty good amount of power. I do believe I'm still pretty confident based on how much was done to the transmission and everything else. This thing was run on nitrous at some point. That I do believe that this thing actually has a built short block. I haven't got to it yet, and one day I'll do a video on how, probably the next time I change the oil on this, how I'm going to check it by pulling the supercharger off and raising the motor and pulling the pan. But that's beside the point. I kind of believe the way it idles, I kind of think it's cammed lightly. So, and it does seem like it pulls harder up top than the Lightnings I've ran before. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Number one is how easy they were to make faster, up to the point where the motor blew from the factory. So that's gonna be it for this one. Pretty simple, pretty short and sweet. Do love these trucks. I mean, this truck has like 180 something thousand miles on it, and it just runs and runs and runs. And most of them are known for that. If you, aside from blowing the motor up, you know, throwing a rod out for doing something stupid or over making too much power, they just run forever. You change regular maintenance items and they just run forever. So it's a pretty awesome truck. Even though it's antiquated, it's not the best performing thing out there anymore, they still can run 10s and 9s if you put enough money into them. But they're just fun trucks. You know, it's a fun truck to daily drive, aside from gas mileage. And yeah, so anyway, until next time, we'll talk to y'all later.